What a morning. I feel like all I did was immediately begin peering into the fucking void of the news like the second I woke up.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, you know.
There's a lot of good stuff going on out there in the world.
First thing I see is nuclear energy plant bombed in Iran. Love to see the words nuclear in the mix with this latest news.
It's always nice when to mix things up a little, you know?
Yeah.
Keep everybody excited, interesting.
Folks, you got genocide exhaustion over the last 2+ years. It's all right. We're going to swap it out with the word nuclear annihilation instead.
The real bummer of the whole thing is that John McCain is not around for this.
Yeah.
It's really just not fair. Poor guy.
And his daughter's too bovine to comprehend the beauty that lays before her that her father would have reveled in.
It is what it is, I guess.
I always associate that phrase with an old boss of mine when I worked with the troubled youths at the what do you call it, residential treatment facility. He said that a lot about stuff that was like hard to write off. It's just like, yeah, man, this kid, he helped like torture this lady to death with his whole family, and it is what it is. And I'm not making that up. That was actually one of the kids I worked with, which I found out like 6 months into the job after like being around this kid who I kind of suspected was a bit of a psychopath of sorts. Anyway, enough keeping it lighthearted. Let's get into the news.
At 12:03 p.m., President Trump told reporters he wanted a ceasefire with Iran. At 12:05, he declared victory. At 12:07, he announced he was sending Marines. At 12:08, he said no boots on the ground. At 12:11, he said he did not want a ceasefire. At 12:16, he declared victory again.
It was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. It was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize.
At 12:17, he asked for a ceasefire. At 12:23, he told NATO they were cowards. At 12:29, he said Iran was begging for a ceasefire. At 12:31, he said everything was perfect. At 12:36, he said $500 oil was a good thing. At 12:37, he demanded Iran open Hormuz. At 12:39, he said Hormuz was never closed.
And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it, so that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
At 12:41, he said the U.S. was not at war with Iran. At 12:42, he declared victory in Iran. By 3:43 p.m., he told CBS he doesn't want a ceasefire.
Almighty God, who trains our hands for war and our fingers for battle, snap the rod of the oppressor, frustrate the wicked plans, and break the teeth of the ungodly. By the blast of your anger, let the evil perish. Grant this task force clear and righteous targets for violence and overwhelming violence of action against those who deserve no mercy. Preserve their lives, sharpen their resolve, and let justice be executed swiftly and without remorse, that evil may be driven back and wicked souls delivered to the eternal damnation prepared for them.
By 5:13 p.m., 13 minutes after futures markets closed for the weekend, in a coincidence that should be studied in every securities fraud textbook, he posted on Truth Social that the U.S. is getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts.
For 5 centuries, before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end. We in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. Armies fight for a way of life. And that is what we are defending. A great civilization that has every reason to be proud of its history.
That has every reason to be proud of its history. That has every reason to be proud of its history.
And this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you, to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history.
I mean, I read a story today that I'm desperate to make a deal. If I was desperate, he'd be the first to know. Me, let's get the hell out of there. I'm the opposite of desperate. I don't care.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to Heat Death of the Universe, a podcast that knows for a fact that
white people have some spooky pussy.
And
today is a gift
from
Iluma.
It is 11:26 a.m. Anti-Meridian, KST, Korea Standard Time. Saturday, March 28th, 2569, Era of the Buddha. The voice you're hearing now is the voice of me, Joshua.
I'd be scared that like some mint would go in my penis hole.
Nomen Mutatio. And as always, coming to us live from Los Angeles,
Somalia,
is Tim, searching for a zurching. Buckner. I don't get that one, but it sounds juicy. What's up, Tim?
That's just like from, I guess, real life. It's just a zercher hold is a style of like a way of holding a barbell while you're working out, and I've just been getting into doing zerchers more often. So yeah, anyway, it's
sweet.
It's nothing funny. It's nothing too deep. But yeah, I'm good. I don't know. I'm just not prepared to even have a little bit thing or whatever, because I just didn't think of one. So, Josh, how are you doing this evening? This fine evening. Listen, it's going to be 1,000 years of darkness during the nuclear winter, so you might as well just get used to it now.
Yeah, I was going to say, full moon, it's dark outside. I'm winding down for the day. It's as opposed to having just woken up, I don't know, a couple hours ago, barely shaking the cobwebs out of my brain and replaced them with fears of nuclear annihilation and all kinds of other fast-paced news items of death and destruction thrown my way. So instead of that, yeah, it's like a chill evening. I'm getting my sleepy time teas all lined up and, ready to wind down with a little light convo about the world we live in today, now, in the present, which is a gift.
Today is a gift.
Which fast food restaurant are we reviewing this week?
I believe it's what's the name of it? It's a place where
Again, that's a place for didgeridoo brothers to meet up.
Yeah, but I can't quite remember the name of it.
Oh, it's the Outback Steakhouse.
Or as
Outback Steakhouse number 4.
Or as I call it, the
I don't like the guy.
Bloomin' Onion place.
That's right.
Getting a little drop crazy, folks. I gotta do drop machine, and it's fun. All right. I mean, there's so little to talk about. We're really gonna have to stretch here. I'm gonna have to vamp a bit, stretch it out.
You know what we could do is we could play a little. This thing is not working. All right.
Oh no.
It's not that it's not working. It's the same thing we were talking about before. We're like
just cutting off at the end.
Cut out, yeah.
That sucks. Maybe it's just some of them, because some of them seem to work totally fine.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Well, anyway, we have decided that it's a valid subgenre of the art form of dropping to go a cappella drops. So, if need be, you can do things like, say, videos aren't real, or Iluma, and so forth, and so on.
Some people are saying the analog drops are
disgusting and probably
illegal. We can also finish the drops for them.
Yeah, you might as well give it the old,
Well, I mean, the most pressing news, as we always kick off the show with, is that First Lady Melania, or as I like to call her,
Somalia,
Trump, has been seen canoodling with a handsome stranger who's been seen walking with a very sexy ass, stiff as hell gait. Did you see this? Did you see this, folks? The First Lady strolling with a robot. And I believe she was with Candy Owens' favorite...
Where my unstable girlies at?
Or girlies in quotation marks. The... what's her name? The French lady that she thinks is biologically male. You know who I'm talking about. The French one.
Macron's wife. I don't forget her name.
Yeah, me too.
Brigitte Macron.
That sounds right.
That is. I believe that is right. Some people think that the... Oh, wait. You're talking about she was with Brigitte Macron. Okay.
At the robot event.
With the
whatever
robot,
that
yes,
was.
Yes. I was going to say that they're programming that robot to be a surrogate now that Barron is out of the house. She's an empty nester, so they're teaching the robot to say,
I like my suitcase.
And it's going well.
That's all it said. The whole stroll up and down the stage there.
Got a suitcase. Huh.
Yeah, I saw about a total of 5 seconds of video footage of that. Read maybe, I don't know, 3 sentences about it. It all sounded very stupid, but just from the visual angle, and I think I posted about this in our Discord. Check out the Discord, folks. I just realized, we can promote shit throughout the episode sometimes if we feel like it. It doesn't have to be until the very ass end of it all. Was that just the comparison between how kind of shitty that robot looked, the incredible kung fu display that the Chinese put on over this most recent New Year celebration, which I'm sure you probably saw bits and pieces of as well.
I guess, yes.
stark contrast, I'll say. And as I also said in the Discord, I think a good starting place with any debates about whether robotics and AI and shit is worthwhile has to involve at least a modicum of moving towards something like socialism. Otherwise, it is basically pure evil.
Sure. There was 2 other first ladies. Why did they decide to do? Why was it an all first ladies AI robot?
I mean, my instinct is to say something like sexist, but
It doesn't.
like ladies be brunching with robots.
I guess that doesn't.
This is a stereotype that Sinbad has been telling us about since the late 80s. We all know this.
I don't completely understand how it's related, why it was happening, but you know what? Whatever. Who cares?
I mean, kind of classically, I feel like a lot of the, and like even more so with Melania, or as I call her,
Somalia.
Yes, that famous nickname of hers.
They have they're just they do these little vanity kind of PR things. That's all they kind of do. And I think all it really was a pure promotion for whatever company made this robot. I think that was the whole deal. And I'm going to venture a wild guess that there's some sort of financial connection between said tech company and Donald Trump's personal bank account, if not maybe just political PACs or whatever. But
sure,
pretty wild speculation on my part, but we're edgy here. We get crazy like that.
Right. And by that you mean you just brazenly make conjecture and accusations with no backing and no proof at all.
No precedent of anyone ever basically completely paying off Donald Trump to say, get pardoned out of a 45-year sentence for wildly excessive, we'll say, drug trafficking. We'll get to that a little later, though, folks. A little teaser for the future.
Well, I mean, Melania is in this, and we just were talking about that documentary that was basically just a full-blown slush fund, given to Trump directly through his wife, just being like, oh, she's a private citizen, this doesn't count, or whatever, we can do whatever we want. We can give her as much money as we'd like.
So that's tick the box off that stupid news number 1. We've got a little of this.
Planes behaving badly. They'll fly your pathetic human ass straight to hell.
Canadian edition.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
We love CanCon on this show.
I did feel kind of bad. This is all documented again in the Discord. Join the Discord, folks. After making some whatever joke about the Air Canada crash on the runway, because as much as we have made dark, edgy jokes about people dying, I did feel bad that the 2 pilots perished in this. But the thing we still can make fun of, I think pretty guilt-free, is what I've listed here in the notes as Marx Carney's limp dick reaction to another reaction. Without looking up the details, going purely from memory, let's say politician and or owner of Air Canada made some kind of public mourning statement about the incident, but didn't do so bilingually, only in English.
Oh, that's a major faux pas, as I'll say, because I'm a proud francophonic. Anyway, continuing on.
Oui. I mean, I only kind of even marked this down because it went along with similar themes of past episodes when we were talking about looking at the sort of relatively minor debates that go on about healthcare in other countries, like the balding treatments in South Korea, etc. This felt like just more of that. Must be nice to have controversies and problems like these when you turn your eyes towards Lady America these days by comparison. I think that's really all I had to say about that. I mean,
yeah.
It did seem like what I read about the actual incident was that the pilots were truly heroic and self-sacrificing in a way. I mean, I don't think they knew that they were going to die for everyone else on the plane, but that is what happened. And I think it was thanks to some, I don't know, quick thinking, maneuvering. But again, the segment is planes behaving badly, not people, folks. This is about the evil of aviation, above all.
Yes, of course. We've had a lot of planes behaving badly going on lately. It's clearly showing once again the dangers of flight, and that we should not be spitting in God's face and doing modern air travel as we do. It's to the ground, folks. It's where you belong.
It just made me think of Iran shooting a few fighter jets and refueling jets out of the sky, which the U.S. is like completely denying happened, even though you can watch it from like 17 different angles as planes behaving badly. I guess the connective tissue here is aviation. Got some airport troubles in these United States of America. What's your feeling about this? 6-hour lines to get through security, yay or nay? Good or bad?
Good. Seems good. Anything to slow down, people who choose to fly. Anything to put people in their place for trying to, use the airplanes, which are an affront to the natural order of things. So yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's so funny how quickly I forgot the premise of, the planes are evil.
Yeah, it's bad and you shouldn't be doing them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm pro them sending the ICE agents there, because I think that it's if you're going to have an unregulated, unaccountable force of jackbooted thugs attacking and violently assaulting even American citizens, it should be, plane enthusiasts. That should be who deserves the brunt of their attack. So yes, ICE we should replace TSA with ICE full time. And just let them fucking go hog wild on those little piggies who have to get on their fucking, get on their airplane flights.
Yeah, and like the funny thing, at least the little bits and pieces I've seen about ICE being sent into the airports mostly seems to be about how lazy and useless they are. But then every now and then they'll just start like beating up someone who looks like an immigrant. But aside from that, they're just standing around looking like the hot dog necked tactical vest idiots that they are. Or, as I saw in a few other pics and vids, kids who look like they're 13, possibly 14 years old, wearing the same oversized vests. Sort of a Hitler Youth analog, felt like to me. And then the great leader who's continuing to prove that
daddies are more stronger than mommies.
Donald Trump, he's in the news, if you can believe it. This section of the notes would be so overwhelming if I actually put all the stuff in here, but I did not. I will not. I refuse to.
Videos aren't real.
Yes, but a few highlights, a few quick hits of Trump's increasingly unhinged and contradictory public statements in between naps. He was also seen sleeping again, like during the same press conferences where he'll like wake up and say, "We've won the war." He'll fall asleep. Actually, I'm being generous, even framing it this way. Like, he's contradicting himself, not with a nap buffer usually, but you know what I'm saying. All I'm saying is he's sleeping and he's lying because,
You're a bald-faced liar.
That's right.
Fucking liar.
But yeah, the napping also reminded me that he was just like rambling again. Shocking behavior for our president to ramble.
Nope.
And he just went off on his his like the robotic script that still hasn't been completely mangled in his brain yet. Sleepy Joe Biden, worst president we've ever had. And this is like as he's like drifting off to sleep. And of course, I say this not in any sense of a defense of Joseph R-word Biden, who I believe I'm fairly well on record as hating as much as a person can hate another person, I guess. But no, more is just how silly and goofy and frankly oddballish Donald Trump is becoming these days. I mean, which is weird because he was recently heard to have said about himself,
I had perfect health, and they reported his health is perfect.
Oh,
I love that they reported his health was perfect.
Who is that guy? You know, that's what he was saying. Who was that guy that I was just talking about of me?
That I was just talking about 2 seconds prior.
Yeah.
One of the blizzard of news items I saw this morning, this is a more sort of breaking news. Trump made a funny joke about the 25th Amendment, which is the one that should have been used on him long ago, I'm sure. And should have been used on Joe Biden, to be fair, which removes the president, replaces him with a vice president if he's insane.
Old and gay, I believe.
Old, gay, insane, otherwise unfit
for
same duty.
Oh, no. I mean, you saw that video of him filling his diaper. He's definitely, fit for duty. He's making mini duties all over the place.
I'm so fit. I take fitness very seriously. He's just the pants sag further. No, this was actually a troubling invocation of him joking about the 25th Amendment, where he basically said, "You don't want to know what I have planned for Iran, because otherwise I think they'll invoke the 25th Amendment on me." In other words, saying, I know what I'm doing is insane.
Yeah.
And also, I think it was it was one of the big, legacy, conservative publications. I forget which one. Maybe just the American Conservative or something, whatever. Even they recently came out with an article that was, pleading directly to J.D. Vance to invoke the 25th Amendment to get Trump the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And then
the problem with that is then you've got J.D. Vance.
It really doesn't solve much, if anything, and probably if it does solve certain small things, just replaces them with even worse things, possibly, because you could arguably have a more competent version of this agenda in play. Yes. There's something else about this one. Yeah, I was looking up 25th Amendment Trump, and it was him on the campaign trail. And it was him. I think it was because it was surrounding one of the 2 assassination attempts against him, and I can't even remember it exactly now. But he was basically saying he thinks the 25th Amendment should be changed to where the vice president can't invoke it. So he's basically calling out J.D. Vance before they even won the election and saying, don't get any, don't get any ideas there, JD. Just more of our president living life to the fullest, saying everything he thinks out loud.
It's pretty good. That was the same one where at the beginning of it he said, it's not a war because you have to get that authorized first.
Oh, I don't even know if I heard that one. There's just so many.
Yeah.
I can't fucking keep them. That's funny, though.
I think he said that first in that one. The thing that a lot of people focused on was the second part where he mentions the is it 25th Amendment?
Yeah.
He started out by saying, this, what's going on in Iran, it's not a war because that has to be authorized. But it is a war, folks. Let's admit it. Let's just be honest with it. It's not, but it is. We all know it is. Yeah, that was kind of good. That was a good
It's just been
intro.
going on the whole time. Every day
right.
is this insane back and forth, and yes, it's probably connected to market manipulation. I mean, it definitely is, but it's also Trump just having very low impulse control at this point, I think, as well, on top of that.
Sure.
I think there could be smoother ways to manipulate the market in the same way without saying it quite as insanely and in such a contradictory way. Yeah, he also declared that Iran gave us a gift because he just made up this fact that Iran let something like 8 or 10 U.S. oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, which none of that happened. I mean, what he was basically to be most generous to our president, maybe
Which
he
we
was
should.
conflating the fact that Iran is allowing a lot more passage through the Strait of Hormuz, except for anyone basically connected to the U.S. or Israel. But I think even some exceptions there. I believe there's just basically like a toll, a tax basically being placed on passage, unless you're like a more direct ally, I suppose, like China is, because
Right.
they haven't stopped China from going through at all. But Trump sees that, or he sees the version of that his handlers give him in like size 50 font that just has a bunch of like mentions of his name to keep him interested, which is like a funny kind of like, anonymous insiders reporting on like what his daily briefings are like, which is basically that they just print out these like totally basically completely made up bullet point, here's what happened today. And it's like, people really liked when you said this crazy thing. And he's like, yes, everything's going swimmingly.
Yeah, I showed them. It's pretty good.
So yeah, that was an interesting gift we received. War is on and off every 5 seconds. It's all pretty fucked up. Especially waking up to the news today that Israel directly attacked nuclear power plant in Iran, and as far as I last saw, it's quite likely, leaking radiation, which could be a big problem. Some are saying could be a big problem.
I can't imagine it's a big deal at this point.
It's pretty scary, but I don't know if it's as scary as a scenario where
I'd be scared that like some mint would go in my penis hole.
So there's always
that would be a lot worse. That'd be way worse. I pee out of that thing.
And then Trump also just saying so clearly, I wish I had it in front of me, whatever. Too much. I don't have all the clips, whatever. But maybe during the edit, I'll throw them in here. But something to the effect of, no, he's like, let's get this settled right now, because fake news like the Wall Street Journal, that itself is hilarious. Like the Wall Street Journal is his like ideological enemy somehow now. Like the far left fake news Wall Street Journal, they're reporting that the U.S. is begging for negotiations to resume with Iran, which they clearly are. It's just like on the record everywhere. But Trump won't let that get in the way of a fun soundbite. So yeah, he's like, let's clear this up right now. They're begging us. We're not begging them. And then the other one, I think from the same press conference, he said, I am the opposite of desperate.
Yeah.
That one got me good. That was maybe the quote of the week in a way, amongst a lot of hilariously fucked up quotes of the week. But I like that one. I'm not desperate. I'm the opposite of desperate. Just screaming it, pounding your fist, kicking your feet like an infant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the juvenilia is pretty turned up, It's it would almost be funny if it was, like not reality and not a guy who has his finger on the nuke or whatever. He's just like, getting pushed to the brink on the fact that like people keep talking about him. It's seeming like he got himself in a place that he doesn't want to be. He's created a quagmire and he's not interested in that. And he's been shown over and over again to not have the emotional stability to deal with something that's difficult. That story that was going around for a little bit about like, the thing with the AI is that it nukes. They nuke each other when they play war games with AI more often than real people would or whatever. It was kind of like I heard someone like explain it more that it was like the AI threatens the idea of nuking more often than people would, but like that all just I think points to like Trump like getting that, as you said, like he just certain things just like stick into his brain. He's like, oh, if we do the nuke, it's game over. Like, it's gonna make him more likely to do it because it just ends the thing he doesn't want to deal with anymore, you know?
It is pretty scary stuff. I have to agree. But that's why we have drops related to infants and juvenilia. 2 words we just said a second ago.
Do we love minors? I love minors.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I thought you were gonna hit him with the classic, you know, Joe. Hit him with the old classic Joe. But, that
adult baby.
Works. That's the one.
All right.
Okay.
I felt like I was taking a test for a second. I was like, which one? I was just scrolling
Well,
around.
I was also looking for it because I can find it on the other board, but then on the one that works, I'm like, I don't even know if it's there. Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
What was I going to say? Nukes.
I think you were going to say...
That is retarded, and we are all more retarded for having heard it.
I believe that's what you were going to say.
That was one of the many things simultaneously firing off in my brain. Yes. Nailed it. Yeah, I think we can probably move on beyond at least this aspect of Trump's mental degradation and fear of nuclear warfare. I mean, I guess I'll also just throw in that
might as well.
Just to illustrate like how much flooding the zone is happening on a weekly basis, like a totally just under the radar story, like even for me, like news freak, unemployed, like I can just look at the news all day if I want to, and I barely even...
Nobody can stop you, man.
I barely even saw this shit. Like, Israel has just stolen southern Lebanon and displaced over 1 million people, bombed many as well as they displaced them, which is like the classic IDF tactic. Hey, look, we're humanitarian. We're warning you. We're about to bomb this place. So then the people start leaving. They bomb the initial place. Then they bomb the people mid-route to where they're going to, where they were instructed to go by the IDF. And then they bomb the people who happen to make it all the way to the quote-unquote safe haven.
Yeah. I was going to say, they tell them
It's a
where to
triple
go.
tap.
They bomb them, you know, there at the place. They tell them to leave. Then as they're leaving, they bomb them as they're leaving. And then the place where they told them to go, guess what's there? More bombs. More bombs! Somehow, yes, it's the classic IDF triple tap. And they have to do this because there's needs to be a safe place for Jews to exist. Because never again, right? That's the important thing about... That's why Israel has to exist, and it's so important. Because we can't have people doing genocide ever again.
It's the only beacon of stability in the Middle East. We all know this.
Yeah. It's the only thing that makes sure that the Jews will always be safe is connecting them as a people to a murderous, disgusting, blood-soaked regime committing genocide. That's the only way to keep the Jews safe, folks. Otherwise, they'd be doing Holocaust 3.0 right now. But because we know that Israel exists, it doesn't happen. This makes sense to me. It's the natural order. And if you question it, I got an important book that you can read. It's called The Bible. And it talks about how Israel has existed for 1,000 years. The country that's been around since the 70s. It's always been there, folks. It always will be there. There's nothing you can do about it.
It's true. It's true. I think I had a momentary brain paralysis there because I was debating whether or not to follow up your very real point with a DJ air horn sound effect or a rim shot sound effect.
Oh, that's tough. It is tough to pick. Which one's better?
I'll settle with this one instead. Say what? Oh, one final thing we learned about Donald Trump this week. Very important, actually. It should have led with this. Really buried the lead. But, yeah, he, let's see.
Donald Trump is underwater with men.
Think about it, folks.
That's
who's leading the free world.
That's absolutely sus, and it's why Clavicular was not going to vote for him against Gavin Newsom. or whatever the fuck he said. Yeah.
Also, breaking news. Kash Patel hacked by Iranian linked, I believe is how it's being phrased. I've seen them also just described as pro-Palestine hacker collective. You're the one who gave me this breaking news. You wanna talk about it a bit?
Oh, I mean, I just sent you the tweet where they said that it happened, which was very funny. And then I looked at some of the pictures, also funny. Obviously, this is important. You want to have the head of your FBI to be so good at OBSEC that literally his personal accounts are getting hacked. That's a good sign. I didn't dig super deep into it, but I saw through the hack they were able to find his porn account, his account to some fucking porn site, which is pretty funny. I think the funniest part about it is that this motherfucker had a login for a tube site, it was XTube or whatever. Who
That's
makes
breaking
logins
news to me
for those kind of sites? You know what I mean? That's
that's
a certain kind
incredible.
of dumb guy, who for some reason has to make the free account login for the fucking Pornhub or whatever.
Oh god,
Completely
man,
pointless.
That's so good.
It's pretty good. And then the thing that I told to you, which is it's going to be the most damning part of this for Kash Patel, and it's very funny, but also incredibly sad, is the part that I said about the idea that the head of the FBI can't even fucking protect his own emails. But his emails, folks. That's not the part that's going to hurt him the most, but the part that's going to hurt him the most is that his camera roll that got leaked, he just looks to take to steal a phrase from the MAGA right, the online right. From my girl, Amy Therese would call him this. His pictures are so, it's a lot of the stuff that you see from him, you just be oh, he's American-fied. He does a really good job of kind of maintaining and, his public image in a way, but the pictures he just looks like a fucking Jeet. He looks like a fucking H-1B visa fucking Indian, and that's the thing that's going to turn off the hardcore Trumpy America First types, is because he has done a good job of looking like he's just a brown American, but you look at some of these pictures and you're this guy is fucking Indian. He's just, I mean, I know that that's stupid, but that's the way that those motherfuckers think. And that's going to be the part that fucks him up worse than all the other shit. All the other shit that he's done. And the thing that's going to fuck him up the worst is that now the online dissident right have seen these pictures. They can't lie to themselves and say that he's not Indian. And now they're going to want his head on a spit. They're going to be fucking get rid of this guy. We hate Indians. Because that's the core of this whole thing. And it's pretty fucking crazy to think about it, but it really is I mean, sounds really stupid because it's this is Trump won, Orange Man bad level take, but the thing about the whole MAGA movement and all of this is just that they're fucking racist. That's the whole thing. They're just really fucking racist.
Yeah, they're accidentally fascist, I would say. More
right.
But more sort of ideologically, purposefully racist, maybe is one way to frame it. You definitely saw more, I think at the time, I know there is only one time zone, the King James time zone.
Yes.
But let's say there wasn't.
LeBron James. Yeah.
I was sleeping during the time that maybe more of this info was coming out. Because all I saw was a really limited number of pictures, which were the ones of him smoking cigars and posing with the Hemingway statue. And but yeah, it sounds like the stuff I was really looking for has started to leak out now. The porn thing is so funny to me, though.
Isn't that great?
That is absolute maximum loser shit. Why? Why does anyone do that? But especially if you're a public figure.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
It's so good. I mean, I feel that sums him up better than anything else.
Yeah. No, it's so fucking pointless too. Like you don't need to log in, Grandpa.
That makes me wonder.
Doing comments, maybe?
Is there a comment trail? Exactly. That's what we got to find.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. Look, man, I got to deal with. Sorry. I was going to say, I got to deal with nuclear war fears. Like, at least give me some, like, fucking Kash Patel Pornhub cringe comments to make it go down easier.
I should have checked, because it didn't seem like it would even be that hard to have, like, looked into it, figured it out. Yeah.
Well, but I was looking for it and couldn't seem to find, but this was like, again, imagine that we're operating on different time zones. It was like 2 a.m, and I needed to go to bed, and I just kind of gave up. But I think like we should shout them out. Hendala Hack Team, I think is the official name. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, they have a website, but I couldn't find it. Although all I was doing was like using like conventional means of Google. So, and I gave up like pretty quickly because I theoretically had to go to sleep. But yeah, pretty funny stuff on like every level. Like you said, the fact that the director of the FBI is like possibly just like getting hooked by like a phishing scam or something, and then getting all his shit hacked. There have to be like some hilarious emails that are going to come out though, right? If they haven't already. Like, and this is genuinely kind of breaking news, but so that's something to look forward to, folks. The future does exist, and it's not all bad, I guess. The kind of things I was hoping to see, and I guess I'm just like quoting myself on the Discord here, but I said I wanted to see hand-drawn plans for his perfect wedding with his kind of fake girlfriend, gal pal of his, or like video of him practicing in the mirror saying, "I'll see you in Valhalla, brother."
He's so... Kash Patel is like underrated how fucking funny he is, to be honest. He's just,
Editorial note to self: get the "See You in Valhalla" drop in the mix.
Yeah.
Or a diary entry about how epic it was when he sort of shook up a beer with the U.S. hockey team.
Oh, yeah.
Which I just saw for the first time, that footage. Like, so there's so much shit I just hear about. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I don't need to see that. But like, I just happened to come across it yesterday, and I was like, yep, that's as wobbly-eyed and cringe as fuck as I was expecting. I guess worse, even. Speaking of cringe as fuck, I gotta let some water out of my body. I'll be right back.
All right. Pissing is gay.
I think that's probably all we have on the Kash Patel hack, and stay tuned for more details on that. I would say almost guaranteed some better shit is going to come out sooner than later.
Yes.
Quick shout out to Iran being pretty based in the way that they're resisting the most lethal military force on Earth, combined with its little attack dog, which is inseparable from it. They're truly calling the shots at this point. I mean, obviously it's not just like, it's not completely over. Like I said, their nuclear facility, energy facility just got blown the fuck up, which is very bad and horrifying. Not to mention another thing that got lost in the news, at least on our podcast. This was in the real news, but how insane was that when they hit the fucking oil depot and it just started raining oil upon Tehran, which my understanding is this is like almost certainly going to cause a spike in cancer amongst the population. Just this like one singular event. So isn't that what like Gulf War syndrome is? Am I getting that right? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't remember. But I do know that...
You can ask me anything you want. You can talk sex. You can do whatever the hell you want.
That's how I feel. We can talk about whatever.
War is bad. Nuclear weapons are scary. But Iran using the Strait of Hormuz basically as a way to... that's the other thing. The other condition is if you want passage, you can only sell your wares, your oil, in the Chinese yuan, not the dollar, which is... I think I'm just kind of quoting Ben Norton here probably, but I think even if they like reduce the use of the petrodollar by like 10%, that's like extremely significant. In
the petro... damn it. Fucking thing. All right.
Dollar.
Give it up the gas.
Dollar.
Dollar.
Got to work on our PBD impressions so we can do
even that's
acapella drops.
Even that's a weird one, because like why that one's funny is because he says it weird even for him.
Yeah, even for him, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
To re-energize us, I was gonna say, just let's get pumped.
I don't like the guy.
That's right.
See, there he is. We're back.
Mm-hmm.
So yuan or bust. Let's take some of the grip of the petrodollar off of the world. I say, BRICS,
I know it be gripping.
Do your thing. I mean, Iran is doing so much more for the cause of BRICS with this action than, like, I don't know, anything else has, I think, up until this point.
It is kind of interesting to think about that because people have been so focused, America. Obviously, America's fucking stupid. They're dumb. We're dumb as hell. They have no fucking clue what's going on. Everyone laughs at us. Everyone laughs at our little dick when our pants fall down and they see it. And they say,
Look at my penis.
That's right, and it's tiny and it's flat. But like everyone has like been focused on China. That's all they could talk about is China. Oh, it's so bad, China. And then it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like the BRICS thing, and China is like fucking, obviously intelligent and building up this like alliance or whatever, and Iran being like the tip of the spear, directly kind of causing us through, because it's the proxy war with Israel basically. Being the direct, and it's like, oh yeah, you guys are all focusing on China is gonna attack us someday or something stupid like that, and it's like, no, like China isn't gonna get they're gonna keep their powder dry. They're not dumb enough to do something like that, and it's like, how would you not see that coming? We've done the same fucking thing the whole time. Like America does the same thing. We've used Israel to be our like proxy for all of these skirmishes. Why wouldn't we expect China to be smart enough to do the same thing?
There's like to that point, a little bit, I guess, a fact that I wasn't even quite aware of till like yesterday, that like China, like as a principle, doesn't have any military allies. Like they have economic allies like Iran, like all the BRICS nations, but like as a point of trying to stay out of wars, they just don't make official military alliances with any country.
Well, they also don't need it.
They don't need. Well, yeah, but it also, to me, it signals that like the intentions are actually more or less what officials say they are, which is a multipolar world with sort of win-win diplomacy. And I'm not gonna be like super duper duper China glazer and say everything they do is perfect and angelic truth and beauty, but like it's a hell of a lot better of approach than killing everyone in sight to protect a certain level of economic dominance, which is what the United States has been doing since World War II, at least. And to that point, Pete Hegseth, he said, let's pray. And we're going to listen to a little clip of Pete Hegseth delivering a prayer to an actual church of sorts. Yes, this was very recent. Whatever. I forget where he is exactly. This is a churchy type speech, though. He does have his Department of War seal on the lectern in front of him, which makes me think maybe he's not in a church, or if he is actually in a church, that's even more hilarious that he brought in his like official Department of War lectern.
Right.
But here's what Pete Hegseth had to pray about for our future.
Almighty God, who trains our hands for war and our fingers for battle, you who stirred the nations from the north against Babylon of old, making her land a desolation where none dwell. Behold now the wicked who rise against your justice and the peace of the righteous. Snap the rod of the oppressor, frustrate the wicked plans, and break the teeth of the ungodly. By the blast of your anger, let the evil perish. Let their bulls go down to slaughter, for their day has come, the time of their punishment. Pour out your wrath upon those who plot vain things and blow them away like chaff before the wind. Grant this task force clear and righteous targets for violence. Surround them as a shield. Protect the innocent and blameless in their midst. Make their arrows like those of a skilled warrior who returned not empty-handed. Let every round find its mark against the enemies of righteousness and our great nation. Give them wisdom in every decision, endurance for the trial ahead, unbreakable unity, and overwhelming violence of action against those who deserve no mercy. Preserve their lives, sharpen their resolve, and let justice be executed swiftly and without remorse, that evil may be driven back and wicked souls delivered to the eternal damnation prepared for them. For the wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. We ask these things with bold confidence in the mighty and powerful name of Jesus Christ, King over all kings, and amen.
Fuck
Almighty
everybody.
God, who trains our hands for war and our fingers for battle.
Amen.
You who stirred the nation.
Gonna have to do a little editing there to get that repeat clip. But yeah, fuck everybody, amen. That's really how he should have ended his prayer there. Or just, had his own soundboard with him and said, fuck everybody, amen. Yeah. Sometimes I really wish that
videos aren't real.
But they are, and that was real.
Unfortunately.
And that's just like some of just this week's insane rhetoric from Pete Hegseth. That's just a taste. But it sums it up pretty well. And then to tack onto that, and I think this is relevant because one of the major things Operation Epic Fury is all about is dismantling the theocracy of Iran. We hate religious zealots of a certain sort.
Certain shade.
You gotta have that footnote tacked on there. Yeah, of a certain shade of Muslimic moon worshipping. There's this guy, Doug Wilson, who I think has been kind of in the news before, whatever. He's just this insane, stupid preacher. And, but he's like Pete Hegseth's preacher. I wrote down spiritual advisor, maybe a little hyperbolic on my part. Whoops.
Well, that
sorry.
implies that he has a spirit, which is, it's not. He has no soul, so how can he have an advisor? Anyways.
But he does, let's see, Doug Wilson, self-described Paleo-Confederate. And leading...
Paleo-Confederate? No,
yeah.
It does not say that, does it? Jesus Christ. What does that even mean?
This is from the two sources I have on that are Wikipedia and AOL.com, but whatever. And leading figure in the Communion of Reformed Evangelical Christians, or CREC, which Pete Hegseth's church is a member of this network of churches. And I think he's had, I think he's met with and, whatever. He approves of this fucking psychopath preacher, Doug Wilson. Sure. And Doug Wilson has said, I think multiple times, that, I want to get the exact quote here. Fucking hell. All I have are these fucking summaries. Give me the goddamn quote. I mean, okay. He basically... I've seen the quote, so whatever. I know I'm not speaking out of...
I don't need to prove it. You don't need to prove it to these people. You knew what it said.
He argues that the Christians who owned slaves in the South were on, quote, firm scriptural ground. I mean, which he's not wrong about, but that just means maybe the Bible's fucking stupid. You should base your life on it. Because he believes the Bible does not inherently condemn the act of owning slaves, which it doesn't, I guess, also. But still, this guy's saying it out loud, and he's, I don't know, let's say close personal friends and fuck buddies with the Department of War chief of Keg's Breath, whatever we call him. And he's also, he's also just criticized, abolitionism in general. And Wilson has criticized abolitionists for viewing slave owning as inherently immoral under any circumstance. See, the context matters. Suggesting that their position was a result of apostasy from a true Christian faith. Yeah. So, anyway, this guy said some pretty lunatic shit. And it all really makes sense when you hear that little speech prayer that Hegseth was giving. But I feel like that can transition us in to the rest of the episode.
Sure.
Which in my mind was going to be a kind of a tour through America's backyard, otherwise known as Central and South
Canada.
America. Oh. No, Canada's our friendly neighbors to the north who we occasionally threaten to steal their land from. The backyard people, we don't even have to threaten. It's an unspoken knowledge that we deserve all that stuff. As we've mentioned on the podcast in the past, both Trump and Stephen Miller said that all of Venezuela's land and oil reserves were originally ours, and they colonized them from us somehow, and we're just taking them back. So that's kind of the overall attitude towards this huge region of the world that people so condescendingly refer to as America's backyard, as if that justifies blowing up any parts of it that we deem fit for blowing up. But to sort of set the stage for that, this was a story that we missed at the time that I thought was worth sort of just remembering, which was this utterly insane speech Marco Rubio gave at the Munich Security Summit, which, reading my notes verbatim here, openly calling upon Europe to help make the world a bit whiter again, like the good old days of the 1890s. And I do have his whole speech here. I feel like actually, let me just play a clip. It's going to take me 1 second to find it. It'll be easier than me looking through the fucking speech.
Smart.
Here we go. This may have some commentary from my main man, Ben Norton, on it. I'm not sure, but it's a short enough clip. Here we go.
For 5 centuries before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end. We in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. Armies fight for a way of life. And that is what we are defending. A great civilization that has every reason to be proud of its history. And this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you, to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history.
I guess that was kind of an edited collection of maybe the best of hits from that whole speech. Obviously, real heads like you and I know that this is like the unspoken project that has never really stopped in the United States. But it's just, classic. What's the difference between the Trump administration and everybody else? Primarily just explicitness and the stupidity with which they express what's going on and what they're doing. So yeah, he was just like rallying the white Western world to make old style colonialism great again. And you might say, oh, well, he's just talking a big game. He's got nothing to back it up. Well, that might lead us into a little place called Venezuela in a second. But or what's going on in Iran and wherever else we're doing all this stuff. I mean, it's just it's hard to remember all the wars we're starting to eventually end at this point. But we'll mention a few of them as we go along here. But the idea of him like addressing the EU also put me in the mind of various UN resolutions and how they've been voted on over the years. And that also came up because of a little article here by aforementioned Benjamin Norton, again, entitled "West Refuses to Condemn Slavery at UN. The Global South voted for a UN General Assembly resolution condemning the slave trade as, quote, the gravest crime against humanity. Europe abstained. The US, Israel, and Argentina voted against it." Shocking turn of events. Europe abstained, so did Canada and Australia and New Zealand, it looks like, and Japan, and maybe a couple other smaller countries. Just looking at the map, the color-coded map here. But sounds pretty fucked up, right? Well, let's dig into the article. Let's steel man this crazy claim. Actually, what's mentioned here in the article, all of Europe abstained except for Serbia, which I just wanted to mention as a shout out to friend of the podcast, Cole, and our discussion about a Serbian film.
Nice.
just the word Serbia.
I'm
gonna mention it.
Yeah, gotta reference it at least, yeah.
Yeah. So the justification they're trying to give for abstaining or just outright voting against this is essentially that part of the resolution involves reparations for Africans. So reading more from the article, West opposes reparations for Africans, arguing slavery was supposedly not a crime when it was committed.
Fair enough.
I have to wonder if this same logic has been used previously about condemning things from the past. Hey, wasn't illegal at the time. Not a problem.
Yes. Tons of stuff, I guess. I don't know. People like to... What do they call it? They call it presentism?
I don't even know.
Okay, so that's what people... like. That's the wordy, heterodox thinker version of being like... the way of like referring to cancel culture, right? And doing the like anti-cancel culture take is to say like, yeah, I don't have a problem with like accountability or, people being but the problem is presentism, which is like having an unhealthy like expectation that things from history and the past should be held to the same standards as today. Which, again, we've talked about historically that there were people, like, thousands of years ago being like, this slavery shit is pretty fucked, right? And, like, so you can't argue that it was just so normal at the time that, like, it's crazy to think that anyone would think it was bad. It's like, no, there were plenty of people who knew it was bad. They just were like, it's whatever. It's more akin to like smoking. You know what I mean? Which actually, I think there might have been more people who were stupid enough to think that smoking wasn't actually bad for you. But like, it was more like akin to like, we didn't quite know how bad it was, but there were still plenty of people that were like, it's bad. We know, it is bad. But yeah, not like, oh, they thought it was good back then. So yeah, that line of reasoning is used pretty regularly.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're right. Like in debates, I guess I maybe to refine what I was trying to say would be more like, has this been used within the context of the UN and different resolutions about like condemning, like officially condemning things that happened in the past? That I'd be more interested in looking up, because I bet you could find some pretty hypocritical shit concerning that, where it's like they want to build like a gigantic monument to the victims of communism or whatever, and that's perfectly fine or something, whatever. Just very random, pulled out of my ass example there, but go on a little bit more about how
I get you. I get what you mean. You mean more like in a like an official kind of setting, being used as like legal justification, not just like because that's what talking about.
Yeah, because that's what they're trying. I mean, even more is just, we could say like just even narrow it down specifically to the UN. So it could be like another resolution came up that was like the same wording as this one, except for condemn slavery and give reparations to Africans. It's like condemn the Soviet Union and give reparations to Ukraine or something. Like, and then everyone votes for it. It would be something like that. But the representative of America, Dan Negria, whose very name I find highly problematic.
Yeah, not a fan of that one.
He claimed that the resolution was, quote, highly problematic in countless respects. Countless, eh? Huh. So slavery's really, really not wrong. Never was, never will be. The U.S. government stressed that it, quote, does not recognize a legal right to reparations for historical wrongs that were not illegal under international law at the time they occurred. I love when the U.S. invokes international law, especially these days. The entire EU made the exact same argument, which leads me to, I had to just like fast forward through it. I kind of wanted to see what she was going to say, like at the end. But that representative from Germany, Anna Baerbock, we've talked about before. She's like she's said and done some pretty reprehensible shit with regard to Palestine, if I recall correctly. I can't tell you specifically off the top of my head. She's like, I think like maybe the leader of the Germany's Green Party, which I'm pretty sure has nothing to do with the Green Party in the United States. I would like to think.
Yeah.
She gave this speech that was like so disgusting to watch, because the whole thing was like really leaning into like how evil slavery was, and it's like well written actually. And she did the whole thing in English. Like it was like so much more eloquent probably than like any of our fucking hog-like representatives at the moment in the U.S.
Sure.
But just knowing that Germany also abstained from the whole thing as she's giving this speech is what makes it so disgusting. And the fact that she kept like kind of giving this weird smile like in between points that she was making, but she was basically like just going into like what the details of like what it would have been like to be like on a slave ship and like all the horrors of slavery. And then like I got to the end, like what I was looking for and like fast forwarding through is like, and I wanted to see her just pivot at the end and go, but because we don't believe in reparations, we're going to abstain from all this.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't have the indecency to go that far, but regardless, like knowing the whole full context and then watching what she had to say, which was posted on like the UN website about this issue, was really, really fucking gross. And of course, unsurprisingly, the UK said exactly the same justification as well. Basically, they said, quote, there's no duty to provide reparation for historical acts that were not, at the time those acts were committed, violations of international law. That the prohibitions on slavery, the slave trade, and what are now considered crimes against humanity. This is some new shit, man. Some new stuff.
That's
had not yet been established. in international law at the time of the transatlantic slave trade. Well, also, there really wasn't, I mean, international law wasn't even nearly the same, like at the time of the transatlantic slave trade, but whatever.
Yeah. We hadn't even fully done maps yet. We didn't know that there was such a thing as international. We didn't know that there was other countries yet.
Yeah, so even more reason not to even symbolically condemn slavery. I mean, I know their argument is like, hey, we'd love to just symbolically condemn it, but giving money to some African countries? No thanks. We're going to give that money to Javier Milei, one of the guys who voted against this fucking thing, who is also on the old list of the tour of Central and South America, the old backyard. But really quickly on two UN resolutions that come up like annually and how they get voted on, which I've mentioned the neo-Nazism one in the past, so I'm just going to skip that for the sake of time or whatever.
Sure, for brevity.
But one I hadn't looked at until yesterday was the resolution titled "The Risk of Nuclear Proliferation in the Middle East," which has been presented annually since 1979, or brought up, whatever, for a vote in the UN every year since then. And what this resolution really is, I mean, what it really should be titled is Israel should join the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons Agreement, because that's what the whole thing is about. It's like, hey, there's this rogue state that we all know has nukes, yet winks at us and says, maybe we do, maybe we don't.
Who, me? Nukes? Little old me? Yeah. I love when Israel acts like a Lindsey Graham in a fucking bathhouse. That demure southern belle that they are.
I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
That's the guy. Of course, the United States and Israel have been the most consistent, as in every single time voted no against this. Why should Israel have to abide by this international agreement to like stop this stockpiling of nuclear weapons, or to at the very least like abide by the same laws that all nuclear weapons possessing countries abide by with regards to like inspections and whatnot? No, Iran is the country that needs to do that. The country that has never had nuclear weapons, the country that had a long-standing fatwa against the possession of nuclear weapons, issued by the guy who we killed immediately on like minute 1 of Operation Epic Fury, which will like, perversely probably cause Iran to now try to develop nuclear weapons. And how could you blame them at this point? And I guess the replacement Ayatollah, the son of the former, relatively more moderate one, who, again, like I said, opposed on, I guess, theological grounds of some sort, anyone having nuclear weapons, including their own country. But his son is like much more militant. So the fake excuse that the U.S. and Israel have been using to try to destroy Iran, completely destabilize it, balkanize it, which is imminent threat of nuclear weapons, they're going to bring that, like, they're going to cause the creation of Iranian nuclear weapons through pretending that they're trying to wipe out the non-existent nuclear weapons. It's a really fun magic trick. You gotta love it. That was a tangent and a half there. You still with us, Tim?
Oh, yeah. I was muted, sorry.
No video. It's hard.
Oh, you didn't miss a bunch because I was muted? I was like, it was just a little bit of me saying like, damn. And that shit is whack. But yeah, other than that, like, I wasn't adding too much during the time that I was muted. It was not for very long anyways, but I apologize. Sir, thank you, sir. Please do not...
And to try to tie us back into the region, Argentina has only recently shifted from abstaining on this to voting no. And it may coincidentally have something to do with Javier Milei being the new head of state there. But some updates on Venezuela. Well, they couldn't vote on any of this UN stuff because they haven't paid their UN dues, which is something I didn't know existed, I guess. And the reason they can't pay them is because of how sanctioned to shit they are by the US / unilateral sanctions regarding all kinds of shit, including like just even being able to use the whatever, like banking systems, payment systems that are like exclusively used to pay for certain things like, say, UN dues or to, basically pay off the US government for various things. They're not allowed. But it's not just Venezuela. Apparently 8 nations right now just can't vote on anything because they're unable to pay like hundreds of millions of dollars. At least that's what Venezuela owes at this point. And this is also the reason that Maduro and his wife, whose name I should really remember to stop being such a
She doesn't count.
bro.
She's not a person.
I want to say, if I'm remembering it from memory,
actually,
that makes it.
I believe.
Is it Cecilia Flores?
No. I believe her name is. Wait.
Celia Flores.
I turned it off.
I don't know.
Yes,
I was close.
Maybe.
I was close.
Wait, hold
Jake
on.
Flores' grandma.
No.
Oh, you mean the holes?
That's what.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. No. Okay. So now
Go back to the club.
let's get into the important stuff. Enough with talking about some broad's name. Who cares?
Well, that hole and her husband, Nicolas Maduro, choked on something there.
Wait, hold on. And he is the prime minister of
Somalia.
Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, correct on both counts. He is a prime minister, and he's from
Somalia.
That's right.
They can't pay for legal representation in the sham trial that also hasn't even had a date set to begin yet, while they're being kept in solitary confinement 23 hours a day in New York City. I thought for a second that they were in the same facility as Epstein, but apparently that facility's been shut down, and it's a different one that is even worse, even more notorious for terrible conditions, torture style treatments, and whatnot. So things are not going well for the Maduros and the Floreses there. But one of the articles on this, see, the New York Crimes judge questions why U.S. is blocking Maduro's defense funding. Hey, what's that all about? But then, like, a more recent update to the story is the judge just denying all the appeals to even, like, they're trying to get, like, first they're just trying to get this ridiculous series of charges thrown out completely because they're absurd. The judge has denied this several times and is now denying even them being allowed to get money from the Venezuelan government to pay for their defense lawyers. It'd be funny if the reasoning was like, well, hey, you're not even U.S. citizens, so
yeah,
which also doesn't make sense because according to our great American ideals, no matter who you are, citizen or not, kidnapped from another country or not, you're supposed to have a right to representation in court, which seems to be flouted here, illegal. Shockingly. I can't believe they're doing unconstitutional shit during this very constitutional kidnapping and sham trial.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. That's illegal now because didn't you see I think it was Levitt, whatever, doing the, like, President Trump doesn't think that, and he's going to make sure that this is the case, that, American citizenship isn't just a right that you have. You have to earn it and you have to prove that you deserve it. So, yeah.
And by prove you deserve it, mostly means
join Mar-a-Lago. Be part of the
how
club.
I forgot. I was just trying to remember the price for the gold card or whatever, the Trump gold citizenship card. It's like $1 million, $500,000, maybe more. Could be $1 billion. I can't remember. I think it's $1 billion to join the Board of Peace, but only a cool $1 million to become a U.S. citizen. I have dehydration problems, man. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. I gotta do hydrating things. Be right back. And we're back.
Wonderful.
Back and...
Allegedly sober.
I am sober. It would probably make more sense, this dehydration shit, if I wasn't. But, I don't know, something else going on with my body these days. Anyway, Venezuela. Yeah, I was like, what actually sparked this whole thing and then led to the idea of trying to focus at least to some of the episode on updates on this hemisphere south of the U.S. border, I guess, was you saying on another episode, like, how just the whole Maduro kidnapping invasion of Venezuela thing is just immediately like out of the minds of everyone, like even people like us who like think about this shit and possibly even care about it to some degree, you could say, maybe, allegedly. So yeah, I just wanted to know, like, have there been any big developments with that? And not really. Like, they're just keeping them in a dungeon, and like I said, there hasn't even been a date set for this totally fake ass trial. But one thing I did find out.
I was going to say the important question when it comes to all of that, obviously, is:
are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
And the answer is exactly. No. Somehow, magically, that's completely gone. So. Maybe unrelated, I think.
Yeah. But what is related is...
what is your fascination with my forbidden closet of mystery?
These are tandem drops, Always gotta be. Yeah, truly, like, the Epstein shit, I mean, like, I know it's a bit of a fallacy to be like, Trump is only doing this Iran shit to, distract from the Epstein stuff. I mean, it's working to some degree on some people. I mean, I haven't forgotten, but I definitely have been not reading the Epstein files the last couple of weeks, really, or even listening to other people talk about them. Except for this one guy who I find really kind of amusing, that I see YouTube shorts of, where like his whole focus is just look at this fucked up shit in the Epstein files, and it ranges from like reasonable kind of conclusions to like a little more wild speculation. But I mean, this is our entertainment now, is reading about pedophile cabals and looking at Kash Patel's fucking porn account search histories. Yeah. This is what we have. So. But no, there was a thing, too, where the FBI, I mean, I heard it phrased as they dropped one of the charges. I guess it's maybe a little more nuanced than that, but not really. Headline here from commondreams.org. After claiming Maduro was its kingpin, Department of Justice now admits in court that Cartel de las Soles isn't a real group.
I saw this one.
They've been pretending that this made-up thing was real for a year, but now that they'd actually have to demonstrate its existence in court, they're going to cram it down the memory hole. Another quote there.
Right.
Yeah, like they realize the thing that so many people already do and had been saying forever, which is that that's not a terrorist organization. It's not any organization.
It's just a joke. It's kind of like a joke. It's like saying fuck the police or whatever.
Yeah, it's a way of saying that there are like corrupt generals in the Venezuelan military that do deals with cartels, but it's not itself like a drug network. And Maduro is not connected to it in any way that I can see whatsoever. But
other than being a part of the government.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, the generals thing as well is like, this is like a long-standing, it's just like a slang term, right? Like a joke, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. It's saying like, it's like I said, it's like ACAB is all that it really means. It's like the same like concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess just to close out on Venezuela, then I didn't get enough into the research to really let us know what's going on within the government. But my basic understanding is that, I'm forgetting a woman's name again. Holes! I need holes.
Yeah. Good. Women are stupid, and I don't.
Delcy. The new president.
Delcine from Street Fighter? That's not a woman.
What is a woman? Huh? Smart guy? Answer me that.
That's true. That's
Delcy Rodriguez is, I think, her name. She was the vice president. She is now the president. And the basic narrative seems to be that she's more or less like complying with the U.S. demands, part of which are taking every single cent of Venezuelan oil profits. And I mentioned earlier that they put them in a private Qatari bank account. Apparently that was just an initial placement, because now they're where they really belong, which is directly in the U.S. Treasury, and the money can only be distributed as the U.S. Treasury, in a way, i.e. Donald Trump sees fit, which is insane. And that's just theft, right? Am I wrong?
Right.
It's pretty crazy. And I did a little due diligence on that as well. And it was basically like they've been kind enough to give a little bit of the money back to the Venezuelan people, which is what they claimed that they're holding on to it for reasons of safekeeping for the people of Venezuela. But I couldn't get too much into the details on that. It was basically like just this vague outline of like to pay teachers and police and shit. I don't know. Anyway, moving outside of Venezuela to Cuba, a place that once relied quite a bit on various fuel sources from Venezuela. And ever since the U.S. incurred on Venezuela's little butt, Cuba has been in some pretty dire straits, we'll say. Like more so than the usual bad conditions created by intense embargo and various economic sanctions that the U.S. imposes on it and has for the last 70 plus years, if I'm doing the math right. But some good people from various places, including the United States, did a little humanitarian trip, bringing a bunch of medical supplies to Cuba. And instead of focusing on any of the real things that are involved in that, like, why do they need the aid in the first place? Isn't it fucked up that the hospitals are losing electricity and so forth? Actually, I'll just let Mr. Ryan Grimm speak on some of that for a second here, because there was an interview I saw with him. He went there as a journalist to cover the story. He went to Cuba along with Hassan Parker and Christian Smalls. Was he Amazon union guy?
Yes, he was. He is iced out trade unionist, the Amazon union leader, I guess you would say, who had a bunch of fucked up shit happen to him. And I think it's insane to then act like he's flaunting his wealth in front of poor Cubans, because of if you had any concept of what his background is, you would understand that that's part of his whole gimmick and his whole thing anyways, on top of where he comes from. But whatever, that's not the point of this.
Well, I mean, I wanted to kind of mention that, I overheard basically this idiotic Twitter discourse about Hassan and him, and look at what they're wearing. They're flaunting wealth or whatever in front of these poor poor Cuban people who knows how they got poor. I think it was all the communism going on there that made that happen. Right. Personally,
it's great because it's like the take that's like Hassan shouldn't have all of these nice things and show all of this off because he's a communist. But then he also shouldn't be showing that in front of the Cubans because they're so poor because of communism. Yeah, you get my point, right? Like, yeah. How do you? This is the help, my weak, disgusting, unequal like enemy is kicking my ass.
Yeah. Did you watch the too lazy to try video on that whole thing?
I did.
I was disgusted
I'll say I
by
listened
that.
to it, but yeah. He was just doing the textbook like he has an iPhone, but he's a communist thing.
But then he even what really discredited the whole thing to me. I mean, on top of it already being stupid, was how he focused at the end on the whole what I thought was just completely finished. Hassan Parker is a dog torturer debate.
Yeah, he just mentioned it offhandedly. Yeah.
Well, look, he really made a big deal about it in the last couple minutes of the video. But anyway, I was slightly surprised to see that, I guess, but not really, because that channel is just mostly the dumbest. It's just one of those Bert Kreischer fights with X, Y, and Z comedy roundup channels.
Expecting that guy who runs that channel to have good politics is the same as expecting Brendan Schaub to have good politics, right? Expecting any of the Legion of Skanks, Joe Rogan verse comedians to have good politics, expecting professional wrestlers to have good politics. We've played this game 1,000 times, man. Expecting the YouTube channel that's about fucking bullshit podcast drama is gonna have the same politics as the bullshit podcast that they talk about.
To be slightly devil's advocate, I totally agree with you, but what a theoretical objection or slight pushback would be that what that channel's been up to since the Epstein shit sort of broke open in a big way. He was obsessed with it, so people maybe take that as a signal of certain kind of politics, the way he was talking about it. But that channel is just kind of annoying anyway. The guys,
I don't like it, but you have to keep in mind that the Epstein thing started out on the other side. So just because Trump is in charge now and blah blah blah, but people are. That's why we talk about it on here all the time, and that's why That's why we have the obviously the most important clip of the entire thing, which is...
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Is because it turned back around on him because, again, it is the, oh yeah, this Jeffrey Epstein shit is so cool. We should talk about it and talk about Bill and Hillary being on the Lolita Express and Biden is a pedophile and this and then, oh, now I'm the president? Well, hey, why are we still talking about this Epstein thing and the fact that I was on the plane 1,000 times? Right? Yeah. So it's the thing about Epstein stuff is it's dumb to look at it as actual political thing because it's a separate thing.
Yeah, I think, but I think.
No, I know. I'm not saying that that's what you thought. I'm just responding to the devil's advocate because I know.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna throw in that you can still differentiate people talking about Epstein's politics by the way they talk about it to some degree. If they're saying if they're Joe Rogan or say Iluma, just leaving out the whole fact that Trump is mentioned more than anybody else in the files, that's a signaling of a certain political bent while talking about the same. Anyway, this is such a side tangent. Let's just listen to Ryan Grimm talk about the trip with this absolute fucking idiot Newsmax moron, and
hey,
go from
there. Don't call Hassan Piker that.
Oh, and I will attribute this properly. Something I put in the Discord, which is that the graphic that this Newsmax segment uses has 2 Hassan Parkers in it. Because It's obviously just AI slop. So it's I believe my take on that was he even brought his twincest clone along. What a life of luxury this guy's leading. But let's listen to that.
Dropside News reporter Ryan Grimm also traveled to Cuba as well, reporting on all this. He's seen in this photo here. And Ryan joins us tonight. The Trump administration is trying to end a 70-year regime. It looks like these guys, along with you there, are trying to help it survive. Am I missing something?
Wait, they're trying to do what?
Trying to help this regime survive.
Who is?
Piker, most of the people there. I'm wondering if yourself, along with them, are included in that.
Yeah, the group that went along brought about 50 tons worth of medical supplies and solar panels. No fuel has basically gotten into Cuba since the Venezuela operation.
We're cutting off fuel to try and get this leadership out. Get them the hell out of there because they won't leave. They won't have an election. They won't leave.
Why do you care about who's in charge in Cuba? Who elected you to do that? I can't even get my mind to a place where I would think it's my call. Like, who runs Cuba? Who runs Haiti? Who runs Mexico? Who runs Iraq? Who runs Iran? Like,
that's a fair
Israel.
That's a fair criticism.
Look at my penis.
To continue to run this country against the wishes of the people that are all impoverished.
It's not up to me. I live in Washington D.C. I vote in Washington D.C. elections, and I vote in federal elections. Where do you live?
Look at my penis.
That's fair.
Where do you live?
I live in New York.
You live in New York.
Somalia.
In what world is it a New Yorker's responsibility to stop Mexico from selling oil to Cuba?
That's okay. Fair criticism right there. My question to you is, why did you travel there? Why did you? If you don't care, why did you travel there to try and support the regime?
I'm a journalist, and the United States is literally killing people. We are killing people. I toured 2 hospitals.
For one day.
Pediatric hospital.
Yep.
You know what the nurses and doctors there told me? They said when the power goes out, they immediately turn on their phone lights and race to the babies on ventilators.
Let me ask you this.
Because there's a gap.
And hold on. I understand.
Hold on one second.
We're killing babies with
There's
no
a
power.
gap between when the power goes out and when the generator kicks in that can be up to like 5 or 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
A baby can die in that time on a ventilator. So they have to take their phone, turn the light on, race, and hand pump the ventilator. All because the United States has decided that Mexico can't sell oil and fuel to Cuba. What does that have to do with the United States?
Boy. When he's just instantly cutting him off when he's talking about babies on ventilators. Yeah. I've listened to that clip like a couple of times now. I feel like he says at one point, yeah, we're killing babies. Is that what you heard in there? Something like that? It sounded like that. I need to like slow it down or something because I mean it doesn't really matter because that's basically what he meant. But like it almost sounded like he literally said like blah 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 killing babies. But what about why you like communism, huh, guy?
Yeah, I mean that feels right, and it also feels very connected to the Van Jones thing, you know. So it's like definitely like correct. It's spiritually correct, I will say.
Wait, what do you mean Van Jones thing? I'm not.
The Van Jones thing when he was trying to joke around or whatever, and he was like, "How come when I watch the news, all I see is dead Palestinian baby, P Diddy, dead Palestinian." Yeah, it's like the same kind of timbre.
Yeah. I think, maybe even worse because he's supposed to be like this newsman asking newsman questions to a journalist.
Well,
but
Van Jones is also supposed to be a serious newsman. You know?
Yeah, but he was just hanging out with his homie Bill Maher at that point.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, things don't count, you know, when you're talking to Bill Maher. I mean, obviously.
when you get together in the Club Random clubhouse, right, you know, with your buddy Bill Maher, you just gotta fuck.
Who cut your meat?
Oh.
And at some point,
that's true.
I realized
my
my cut your meat drop is not edited properly. The humanity.
Yeah, when you're hanging out with Bill Maher and you're talking about, dead Palestinian babies, and he just gives you that, 1,000-yard stare, and he says,
I would never waste pot on watching a movie.
why does this thing not work? Anyways, I have to give it up. It's weird because it worked before. Anyway.
Yeah.
A crystal flute.
That worked.
Perfect.
That one went through, yeah.
As crystal clear as a crystal flute.
If you want to talk
Chico de pelo.
Yeah, I guess we should move on even past Cuba and the stupid Twitter discourse. I mean, all I'll say about this...
There's been a lot of Cuba talk lately. It's funny because it really felt like, for some reason, everyone decided that it was time to talk about Cuba. It's almost like the coordinated group of, social media, quote-unquote, influencers flashing too much cash and being fucking bad communists got exactly what they wanted, which was attention to the cause of the fact that Cuba was being starved, or is being starved of all internet. It's weird how that works, right? Because they're all fucking nasty, disgusting, bad communists who think that they think they're doing something, but all they're really doing is bragging and showing off. But yet, it's been all over the fucking media for days now since they did this. Weird. That's weird how that works,
It is funny how the people who explicitly said that their role in the envoy was just to get media coverage on, the people doing the actual heavy lifting of bringing in all the aid. And then that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
You might even wonder if Hassan and Christian Smalls purposely played up that shit to get the chatter going about the subject, which otherwise would have been probably ignored for sure.
Yeah. No, because they're stupid communists who wouldn't even understand how to be smart and do something like that.
But that's the other thing, too, is that even if that is the case, even if it turns out that, Hassan really is just a real mimbo and whatever, and Christian Smalls is just a grifter trying to sell his book or whatever the too lazy guy said, even if that's the case, they're still effectively drawing way more attention to the issue through their mere presence and, social media posting or whatever about being there. So... I guess to round out Cuba, Trump said, I think this was also breaking news, Cuba is next, I believe was the exact quote. Trump said at some council with the Saudis very recently. While war with Iran was breaking out, there was another littler style war happening in Ecuador, which is a nation that is extremely pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, a very cooperative puppet of the United States, because apparently they requested it themselves. So the U.S. basically assisted, the U.S. military assisted the Ecuadorian military in a bombing campaign on what they proudly claimed, this was the other thing, is that the U.S. government posted a video of them blowing up this place that they said was like a drug storage facility or something for illegal drugs. Rather, quote, a quote, drug trafficking training camp is what they said here. They released a video of it and put cinematic music to it and shit, which is a thing that, they keep doing. It's a pretty gross trend, I gotta say. But that happened, a month ago or something now. But more recently, it was discovered, completely proven, that what they blew up was a dairy farm. And they didn't just blow up a dairy farm. Here's also what was an official statement from the Department of War. At the request of Ecuador, the Department of War executed targeted action to advance our shared objective of dismantling narco-terrorist networks. This operation demonstrates the power of coordinated action and sends a clear message. Narco-terrorist networks will not find refuge in our hemisphere. There we go, Donroe doctrine language. It's tying in thematically. See, I'm not all over the place. And then, just to make it worse, further details. This was from the New York Times report on the reveal of this just being a dairy farm that was destroyed. So these are, take it with a grain of salt. These could be no good lying dairy farmers who have all the reason in the world to lie about this shit, I'm sure. And it says that the soldiers let a 66-year-old worker go, then started beating the younger workers, all in their 20s and 30s, they said. One worker said he fainted twice after soldiers dunked him headfirst into a barrel of water and threatened to drown him. The soldiers then loaded 4 of the workers into a helicopter, poured gasoline on 2 homes, tool sheds, and the cheese-making building, and lit a fire, burning down most of the farm structures, according to the workers and a group of residents who arrived after noticing the commotion. The farm workers said they were flown to what they believe was a military base about 20 minutes away. There, they said, the soldiers choked them with their own shirts and shocked them with stun guns. Sounds like it lines up with the
right.
With the prayers of Pete Hegseth, we'll say.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Sorry, Pete Kegsbreath, Secretary of War Crimes.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Nickname from the man who gave us...
Donald Trump is underwater with men.
It's disgusting.
So, yeah, there was just a kind of a little mini hidden war taking place in Ecuador as well, in case you didn't notice, and why would you? I mean, I barely did.
Yeah, that's like the weird thing about the whole Iran stuff is like we're constantly doing covert, actions or whatever. They don't count as wars because you have to declare war or whatever. And so it is always weird the way when it's like America is like we're turning war mode on kind of, except for we're not calling it war, and then people are paying attention to it. But it's like we're constantly involved in fucking military actions all over the fucking world, but especially as you talk about the Don Roe Doctrine, especially in South America, in our backyard, as it were.
Yeah, it's the constant trend always, which ties into a little detail I threw down here that which was just, hey, remember Julian Assange? Because he stayed at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and then was also fucked over by Ecuador when the government shifted from a more left-wing style government to a extremely right-wing style government. And the president at the time, who basically got Assange kicked out of the embassy and then thrown into like the torture dungeons for several years, basically outright said the reason he did it was because WikiLeaks leaked materials about him being corrupt. So it was just like it wasn't. I just assumed it was like he was doing it on behalf of the Trump administration at the time, which, I mean, I'm sure was part of it as well, but it also was just petty revenge. So it was like a perfect confluence of forces to come together to continue torturing a guy for, I don't know, well over a decade total. Also just, hey, remember Julian Assange? We don't really hear much from him still, even though that's one of those not all bad category things that I can remember now and then. Is like, at least he's not slowly dying in a cell anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately. Should have just nuked. They should have just nuked him to the ground.
Like HRC wanted, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we can skip Brazil, other than to say both. We'll skip it. I'll update us later on what's been happening in Brazil. Argentina, good, loyal ally of the United States and Israel, as seen in that slavery condemnation vote, amongst other things. I'm going to skip all the stuff about the Davos speeches, but I will briefly mention that this was also breaking news this morning. China rejected this huge amount of tainted beef coming from Argentina, tainted with an antibiotic that I can't pronounce. Maybe you can if you see the tweet. Doesn't matter. It's an antibiotic that's been banned for human consumption for 30 years, and we're importing that shit into the United States right now. So maybe stay away from beef, fellow Americans. But yeah, China rejected 22 tons of it because finding this long banned chemical agent in the beef.
Yeah, and you know where that beef's gonna go. So
they're just gonna.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about where the rejected beef was gonna go. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's coming right to us.
I was just thinking like, oh well, we already have our own orders in, but yeah, I was just like, hey, we'll take that off your hands too, because why wouldn't we? We gave them $40 billion quite recently. Another story that, I keep like saying like, oh, nobody's talking about this, and people are missing that. You can't even blame anybody for certain things. I mean, some stuff like definitely mainstream media is like purposely, obviously, like not reporting on, but a lot of this other stuff, it's like, who has the time? Even the 24-hour news channels can't do everything. Actually, they probably could if they really wanted to, but anyway,
they have 24 hours a day. They literally have all fucking day to do it.
Instead, they just repeat the same 5 narratives over and over again. I assume. I haven't watched that stuff like live outside of like clips on Twitter for a long time, really. Last time I did actually was when the US invaded Venezuela, and I was in America at the time at my parents' house, and I watched CNN do the most despicable news coverage of all time, except for probably whatever Newsmax was saying. But yeah, I've mentioned this before as well, but it's just the hilarious contradiction of, the Davos speech basically is like Millet just like declaring triumph of anarcho-capitalism and libertarianism, despite the fact that Argentina's economic situation is extremely dire. I can't tell you the facts and figures off the top of my head. I want to say something like 30% of people are food insecure, higher than 50% poverty rate, and so on. But no, they're just getting like free money from America through like this currency swap thing that they did. And also the fact that Millet is the great libertarian tradition of banning abortion is something Millet is really into, and using militarized police forces to crack down on people peacefully assembling to say, hey, we're tired of being poor and hungry. Totally libertarian values in principle, of course. Someone who does have better politics, though, Gustavo Petro.
It's right there in the name, folks.
Yeah. The thing I was going to mention earlier when talking about Venezuela, it was also from the Common Dreams, yeah, that's what it's called, website. Similar headline, but advancing. So after dropping made-up allegation against Maduro, DOJ now reportedly probing Colombia's Petro. And then it says, this is what they did before they abducted Maduro, said one observer. And you scroll down, and that one observer is none other than
Donald Trump is underwater with men.
Kyle Kalinske tweeting about it.
Nice.
But yeah, Trump has already said, and I quote, that Gustavo better watch his ass. He said that like as they were gearing up to invade Venezuela. So it's extremely likely that they're gonna, because in their minds, like it was very successful, and I guess it was for their horrible, criminal, disgusting ambitions. They have all the oil money now, so why wouldn't they feel emboldened to move on to the next one, which is Colombia? And I guess some signs of this like impending doom upon the president and the country of Colombia is that Petro has like significantly toned down his rhetoric, which used to be very fiery. You know, we read it on the show before, like that long letter he wrote to Trump or whatever. A lot of that's been dying down, and he's been more sort of like playing nice and cooperative with the US about like, quote unquote, the drug war, which of course the US really has no interest in. It is a sideshow excuse to do whatever. I guess my thesis statement summary all together at once on Colombia these days is insert Alex Jones saying, "Got your ass." No, I don't know. They better watch their ass. I'm afraid for them. It's bad. So when you stop being scared of nuclear weapons being launched by Israel or the U.S., just think about being scared of Colombia being invaded instead. It's a little filler fear you could put in there. And our final nation state in our own damn backyard. What are they doing there? It is funny to think
on top of our oil, right?
Right. It makes me like I'm trying to just like, I guess I'm like reading even more into the language of the backyard, like thinking about like people like shooting rodents in their backyard, like oh, some raccoons going through my whatever, gotta take them out. Like it's just so beyond demeaning, the way so many people refer to this huge section of the planet as just the shit we keep out back, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But about Honduras, I did want to just mention the fact of the 2009 U.S.-led coup against the left-wing government. I mean, this is just classic playbook, Jakarta method style stuff that we're always doing, which one Hillary Rodham Clinton was very proud about. And what I realized looking back on it a little bit, that the way the Obama government dealt with the whole thing was just refuse to call it a coup d'etat. Because if they called it that, then they couldn't, in all good conscience, fund the new government, which was ushered in with a coup d'etat. So they're just like, if we don't say that it is, it isn't.
Right.
Which is like a perfect contrast between like the Democrat way of carrying out this shit and the Trump style way of carrying out this shit. Trump says, "Watch your ass." Obama says, "Well, technically, it wasn't really a coup." And ribs and pussy and whatever. I don't have that one in front of me.
No, that's that meme, you know, the HR lady or whatever in the office. Like Obama doing fucking, drone strikes versus Trump doing drone strikes or whatever.
Oh, with the HR lady. I know the
cute. Call HR, yeah.
I was thinking of the plane one that has like the pride flag on it, and they're both dropping bombs or whatever.
Yeah, same thing. Same idea.
Yeah. But I think in a very full circle kind of Ouroboros style way, it's appropriate to end on just mentioning the wild hypocrisy of Trump pardoning one Juan Orlando Hernandez quite recently. Like, the timing is so insane. Like, what I'm trying to say, Ouroboros-wise, is like this connects us back to Maduro being kidnapped for allegedly being a drug kingpin.
Right.
The evidence of which seems non-existent or spotty at best, as far as I can tell. But Juan Orlando Hernandez, former president of Honduras, good buddies with Donald Trump, we'll say, including giving I don't want to get sued here. I mean, it just, for our audience, do I even need to say, it almost goes without saying that there's some obvious pay-to-play action, money changed hands between these two guys in some form or another. And because Trump has been doing that nonstop, like, I mean, I guess with the exception of the January 6th people who he pardoned for free, he just did that one because You know, that might have been like the first time in his entire life that he ever felt gratitude, even for a second. So he's like, I'll do this one for free, guys.
No.
Hey, Jan 6 pedophiles, this one's on me.
Right. Yeah, that's classic patronage is what he was doing there, you know. That's political patronage. The guys who did January 6th were his like clients and like yeah. So, anyway.
Didn't he pardon Lil Wayne?
Probably.
I think he did. I wonder what the like exchange was there. I don't think he would do that one for free. But who knows? I mean, money, I guess. He's fucking rich as hell, I assume.
Well, that might have been a, you know, Kanye / Kim Kardashian pardon. There's some of those too you have to keep in mind. Yeah.
True. That I forget that was the 1.0 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Hernandez motherfucker is like a giant drug kingpin / president of the nation that he was operating out of. He had links to one El Chapo as well.
Oh no.
He facilitated the shipment of hundreds of tons of cocaine into the U.S. Something that, like, I don't even think anyone even alleges happens from drug cartels in Venezuela. I think most of any Venezuelan cocaine, as far as I know, is mostly going to Europe. It's all really besides the point, which is that.
Sure.
I'm not going to look it up now, but I feel like literally like the day of or the day before invading Venezuela and abducting the head of state and his holes, I need holes, wife, Celia Flores. Yeah, just the timing is insane on that one as well. I think we briefly mentioned this on the podcast before, but I felt like it deserved mentioning again to round us out here. And that's probably enough on that and on everything.
Well,
really.
Yeah, on this.
So let's generally recommend stuff if we feel like it. Do you feel like it today? I have some stuff.
Fuck, man. I'm like, sorry. I'm done. I really don't. I really don't have anything. I'm like zonked out life-wise. It was a long week. So no, I don't have anything to recommend, unfortunately. Yeah.
Any good beers you drink these days?
I just drank a good beer actually right now.
Recommend that.
It's called Chili Bin. It's by Virgin Beer Company. It's from San Diego, so it's going to be tough to find. It's a New Zealand style pilsner. It's a light pilsner with New Zealand hops, and it's pretty good. So I would recommend that. I just drank it probably about an hour and a half ago. That was a solid one.
Nice.
I'm also, actually, fuck it. I'm going to crack this open. I'm going to do a live drink review. I got Liquid Death Killer Cola flavored sparkling water. It's cola flavored sparkling water by Liquid Death. I don't think it has caffeine. It's just meant to taste like a soda, but it's seltzer.
It has essence of Coca-Cola.
Yeah. It's fine. It's not that good, but it's fine.
It kind of doesn't sound that good. It sounds like just watered down cola in my mind, just from the description. But
the fucked up thing is that, like, before seltzers got like super super popular and like LaCroix was the thing, they used to have like store brand seltzer at Ralph's that was like Dr. Pepper flavored seltzer water that fucking ruled. And then once all the soda water shit got super popular, they like got rid of that brand, and then they like, you know, they tried to rebrand the store brand and all this other stuff, and they just didn't make that anymore. And that was like the best like soda flavored seltzer that I had ever had, and it just doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, this is fine. It's I could definitely see drinking it, but it's not great.
This is a little nutty, but I actually have to piss again. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. And we're back.
And we're back. Awesome.
Oh, sorry. Did I cut off a monologue?
No. You're good.
Okay. Now, speaking of liquids, goddamn. Let's see. I can say that throughout this recording, I have had 1,800 milliliters of water at least, based on my little tumbler here, and maybe full cup of coffee. So one of my recommendations is water. Drink it. It's good for you. And as we all learned from Zoolander in that commercial that Zoolander does in Zoolander, water is the essence of moisture or something.
Yes. No, wait.
Essence of
Water
wetness?
is the wetness, and wetness is the essence of moisture.
Something like, is that it? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I do still think about that one scene in Zoolander quite frequently, especially the merman. It's merman, Dad. Now that we're done.
The scene from Zoolander that I think about is the gasoline fight.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about it right as you were saying it. That's, yeah. What are your favorite scenes from Zoolander, folks?
Yeah, folks.
Write in.
Get in the goddamn comments and let us know.
Hashtag Zoophile.
Yes.
Yeah, get on Twitter. Tell us your favorite Zoolander bits. Hashtag Zoophile. Hashtag Zoolander rocks. Hashtag Ben Stiller is my dad. I recommend, on top of water, a movie called Roof Man, which I just heard about sometime this week. And it turned out to be very, very, very fun. It's a 2025 American crime comedy film, and it's based on a true story. It says here, based on the life of Jeffrey Manchester, who's played by Channing Tatum, who robbed McDonald's locations by drilling through their roofs and hid out in a toy store after escaping prison. It's also starring Kirsten Dunst, Lakeith Stanfield, the GOAT. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage, Ben Mendelsohn. Some good actors in there. Strong recommend. It's as close as you're going to get to a feel-good anything, probably, these days. So I recommend it for that as well. It's also extremely nostalgic for, I guess, early 2000s stuff. Like they construct like an entire Toys R Us, which is like where he's hiding out from the authorities for a long portion of the movie. But anyway, that was really fun. And another fun movie I watched as well was called Send Help, a 2026 American survival horror thriller film directed by Sam Raimi, starring Rachel McAdams, who kicks so much ass in this movie. I felt like, I was like, has she always been this good? And then I remembered I liked her on the controversial season of True Detective, which was the second season. But yeah, while watching that movie, I was just kind of like remembering this was like the Mean Girls girl. Because that's how old I am.
Right.
Like, look how far she's come since Mean Girls days.
No.
But it's extremely
that's
fun.
That's a great movie. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
No. Mean Girls, you mean?
Mean Girls, yeah, that's like an all-time great movie, man. I mean, I think it's stupid to look down on it.
I'm not talking shit about it. I just mean she was however much younger than or whatever. So she's come so far or whatever. I don't know.
That's true.
But yeah, she's incredibly good in it. She basically is the whole movie alongside this guy who plays like this asshole CEO. I don't say anything more about the plot. Just watch it. It's actually, I went into it knowing nothing about it other than it was like survival, horror, Sam Raimi, Rachel McAdams. That's all you need to know. And then you should still end up liking it like I did. And to be slightly excessive here, final thing, I was reminded of an older podcast that is very, very good, called I Was There Too. Did you ever listen to that one? As a former earwolf guy?
No.
It's a podcast made by a guy named Matt Gorley, who is known for having like probably a dozen podcasts throughout the years that are all really good. He was in this like kind of I don't even know what you would call it, maybe like a sketch group kind of thing, but they would do like audio play style sketch stuff called Super Ego. Maybe you've heard of that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Matt Gorley is a big favorite of mine. He did really funny characters on Comedy Bang Bang too. He's awesome. He has I'll save our time for other recommendation times to list other great podcasts he did. But I Was There Too. The premise is really great. It's basically he interviews people that were like barely had like small roles in big films, basically. What reminded me of it was DJM in our Discord posting a GIF of that scene in RoboCop where the kill bot that I forget the name of just blows this one guy away in like an extremely over the top manner. That was one of the first guests on I Was There Too, talking all about having like hundreds of squibs exploding on his body, like for multiple takes and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a good interviewer, Matt Gorley, and he talks to some interesting people. Paul F. Tompkins was on talking about his like 3 seconds on screen that you don't even see his face, I'm pretty sure, in There Will Be Blood. And then another really good one I remember off the top of my head was the lady who played basically the main female character in Aliens. Okay. Classic Aliens. She was a good guest on that as well. But anyway, check out the whole podcast. Those are just some examples of places to start, possibly. Also, the guy who played the evil warden in Shawshank Redemption. That was a really good episode, too. All right. Let's get the fuck out of here. Yes, go to the Discord. Join the Discord. Listen to Tim's other podcast, which is in the show notes. Tim, do you want to update anything about the podcast?
We did an episode like 2 weeks ago, whatever. I think I already plugged it last episode, but it's back, and we'll do another episode eventually, someday. Anyways, it's on violentpeople.co. Check out the website and listen to Violent People Radio. Recent episode was good, but that's always true, so just check out whatever episode is recent.
Yep, all there in the episode description. Scroll down, look at all that stuff. And as Nick, and don't call me Shirley always says, America is the greatest
adult baby
in the world. And if anyone tries to do
Somalia
type stuff to it, it'll say,
look at my penis.
And
I'm going to haunt you.
Good night. Good luck. Good morning, Vietnam.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?